Hi everybody, I'm Ethan Felizzari-Castillo.
I'm Stefanie Colón.
And welcome to the CK Café.
Woo!
This is a conversation that we're going to be having every single week with a bunch of different creatives in the film world. We're going to talk about filmmaking in general, about the film business, amazing projects that independent filmmakers are making.
Yes.
And that's sort of the key that we want to focus on. It's like independent films,
Yeah.
and like keeping things independent. So, we at CK Films, we both produce with CK Films. We're, so excited to keep our films as independent as humanly possible. And what we want to do with this show is have a platform where other creatives that are also doing independent work can show off what they're doing and have a place where they can speak about it.
Yeah.
So welcome to the CK Café.
Yeah,
we
thank you for joining us.
We are so excited. And, first and foremost, I thought we'd give a little background on CK and CK
Great.
Films in
I like
general.
it.
So for those of you who don't know what CK Films is a production company that is a branch of multimedia production company, CK Productions, which you can see right here on these mugs for anyone watching. And CK Productions we do a little bit of everything. We do stuff in theater, we do stuff in music, but our film branch has always been one that I've been so proud of since I started CK back in 2013. It's just has brought me so much joy, and I've met some of the most amazing people through it. And we have, since our start, we have produced a bunch of short films. We've produced over 85 music videos and are currently working on our first feature films and more shorts and more music videos.
Yes.
And a little bit of everything, a bunch of really cool creative work, documentary work. So we're excited. The future of CK Films is very bright. Yeah. So I met you, Stefanie. Let's talk a little bit about how we met. We were working on a concept piece for a feature that we are now writing together.
So excited.
Which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
We won't say too much about it because it's such early stages. But we met in a really interesting way because you were an actress and I was directing you.
Yeah.
And our friendship and relationship has just grown from there.
I think what I love best about this industry, I guess it's like this in all industries, but in this industry particularly, it's like one connection leads to another connection leads to another connection, And so the long story to us getting together was I went to acting school with a girl and we became friends. And then she introduced me to somebody else and they were like, try out for audition for this play I'm in. And through that I met an actor and we became friends. And he introduced me to someone who put me on the film with you. It was this long story, but
it's a person to a person to another person.
But those connections are amazing, and I think make our story special as people who work together and as friends. And I came onto your set really excited about the script.
How long have you been acting before we met? So we met. What year was it? It was 20.
That was
21.
20. That was last year. 22.
2022, yeah.
2022.
So, okay, yeah. Oh, wow.
Maybe summer, end of summer?
Summer
fall,
2022.
2022.
So how long before that had you been working in the industry?
So my story is interesting because I was acting as a child, loved it. Not professionally, but doing everything I could in acting, and then started to kind of pursue professional acting in high school, and then went to college. And my Puerto Rican parents were get a real degree. And I got a degree in nursing, and I love nursing, shout out to the nurses, I still do nursing. But then I just didn't see anything creative for so many years. Yeah. And it was genuinely a piece of me was missing. The best way that I can describe it is I say I was holding my breath for all these years in between. And then my first half a breath was I started painting again, and it was oh, that feels kind of good. It's exercise that creative muscle. And then for a few years I kept saying I want to get back into acting. And then in 2019 I started taking classes again and just getting comfortable being in my skin and getting used to being in front of a camera and just going with the impulses. So you met me in 2022. So a few years into getting back to where I used to be, and it was a fun journey, and I'm so glad that we met on that really fun project.
No, me too, and I'm excited to see where that project has evolved to. It was so small, it was such a small idea, and it was just meant to be like a little short. And then at first it was a teaser, then it was a little short, then it was like, oh, maybe this could be something bigger, and then now it's turned into something completely different. And it's such a special piece. I can't say much about it, but it's it's such a beautiful piece. I'm so excited to dive into it a lot with you. But you said something there that I think is so true. It's like anybody, I think part of the mantra behind CK when we had started it was like the idea of a creative kid, right? And that's like what CK stands for, is creative kid. And I always, it was an old acting technique that one of my acting teachers once told me, was that he's like, hey, you know, in order to really create and really get this role down the right way, you want to wipe all of that slate, all of the, every bit of insecurity and all those things that we have inside that we put walls up for ourselves, that don't allow us to express ourselves and be fully vulnerable, tear them all down, right? And go back to when you were a child, when you were a creative kid. And that always helped me. And I was like 15, 16 at the time. And I remember, you know, still a kid, but like even thinking, you know, when you're 15, 16 in United States high school system, there's a lot of pressures, there's a lot of things that are happening. And it's like, you start to build up these walls. So really bring them crashing down. It's important to get into that creative mindset, no matter how juvenile it feels, right? So it's so beautiful that you say that, because like, it's wild that creativity, when it leaves our life, when it's something we feel we're destined to do, and I know you really well, so I feel like I can say, I think you are like destined to be working in the creative arts in some capacity. So it's like, when you're not doing that, it feels like a part of you is missing. And
100%,
it's like,
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I tell every friend of mine that I have out there who's like still doing it, but like kind of half in, half out. And I get it. We got to survive. We have to have jobs. We have families. Like, I totally get it. But it's like every friend I know in the independent film world or theater world or music world, I always encourage them, like, don't lose it, right? Maybe you come to a point in your life where you can't pursue it and it can't be your sole form of income, but like, don't lose that creative spark, because the 100%. Second you do, it's not yourself anymore, right?
You're not yourself. And then like what you said about the walls is really like so interesting, because you start to, like, I don't know, society and adulthood and all these different pressures make you build up walls that were not there before,
100%.
that make even what you love to do difficult. Like, that's what I found. Like, so I'm glad you met me in 2022, because between 2019 and 2022 was me trying to like break down all these stupid walls and insecurities that never existed when I was a kid, just acting and doing what I love, you know? And so that's been the goal, to get back to a childlike state. And like, I love that that's what CK represents.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like now more than ever, like right now, you know, in the last year, you and I have started working together on like the producing side of things. So originally acting, directing sort of relationship, and has molded into us being producing partners, right? And you know, we do every production together, for those of you who are listening or watching. So every film production that we're currently working on, that we've worked on in 2023 and beyond, it's all stuff that we're doing together. And one of the things that I'm so excited about for you as a producer is like, you have this like re-energized like excitement and optimism, but also like work ethic that so many people lose, because you left it for a little bit, and now you came back to it. And you leaving and coming back, I think truly is the best thing that you could have ever done, because you never became bitter about it. Like, you've almost now have this like, I don't know, you have this energy about you that's so exciting. And every time you tell me like, oh, I was in this place, like, you know, mentally and like physically, because I wasn't in creative arts. And I'm always like, now I look at you and I'm just like, I mean, I can't even imagine a person like you not being involved in this, because you're so good at it. So, you know, and like, obviously at acting, you are wonderful, but as a producer, I've told you this, you are truly, I think, one of the best independent producers out there. And I think like, and you're somewhat new to it. And and I'm like, where you're going to end up being in like 5 to 10 years from now. I mean, I think it's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
I feel like I'm so grateful to like 2022 and meeting you, and just like you, Rosie, like we just really clicked. And you opened me up to like a side of filmmaking that I didn't know about, right?
Yeah.
Like I was in front of the camera, which was great, and I love that. I love that. But like learning about this behind the camera work and producing specifically, like it just really has married all sides of my life, like the creative and acting side that was missing for so long, and the like filmmaking side, but also like this business side of me that's also been in there, and I didn't hate. Like I don't want it to ever come across like that I didn't enjoy the years of my life in between, because I did.
Yeah.
But like this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
No, I
so
agree.
like it's really exciting to be where you're supposed to be. And I feel like I see that same excitement in you about producing specifically,
100%.
which is why I love working with you, because you're not just like doing it. It's not just like a job. Like it is a job, but you're excited about it. And then I feel like we make each other excited about it.
Oh yeah, no, I think here's the thing is I think people just don't get what a producer does.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, and I think I have a firm belief that every actor, every director, every writer should learn the inner workings of what it takes to be a producer. Whether they become one or not, totally different. It's totally up to them, right? But there's a laundry list of wonderful actor, producers, director, producers, right? Steven Spielberg, one of the best producers that was out there, right? A wonderful director, but I honestly, I think there's an argument that could be made that him as a producer is even stronger than him as a director. And then there's other people too, like Bradley Cooper is one of the best producer actors out there. He has how many Oscar noms just from being a producer,
100%.
right? And the thing is, I think people just don't understand what a producer really does. And one way that I was described to it once, and I think it's an excerpt from a book, but a friend had told me this, and I can't remember the book, otherwise I'd give you credit, whoever you are. But it was about a dinner party. And I might have told you this before, I'm going to repeat it.
Sorry, tell me.
Everybody is a producer. Every single human being is a producer every day in their life. And for example, you put a dinner party on the table, right? If you're having a dinner party, what do you need to do, right? A million things. You need to figure out, okay, what am I going to serve? How am I going to decorate? Or who am I inviting? Or, what are we doing after we eat dinner, right? Is it going to be dessert? We're going to play games. What time is everyone coming? All this stuff. All these things you have to think about. That's what a producer does.
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
And you think about it, right? It's like, we'll start off the very basic side, right? For us, we look at it from like development, before pre-production, development of a script, right? That's you just deciding that you're having a dinner party and conceptualizing what you're going to do, why you want to have this dinner party. Maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's a anniversary, maybe it's a Friendsgiving, whatever it is, right? But you're conceptualizing this. Then you enter pre-production. And for us, it would be, maybe starting fundraising, maybe figuring out certain things with the shoot and actual production, finalizing crew, cast, all that stuff. For an everyday human being, it's figuring out who you're going to invite to the party. It's what you're going to specifically cook. It's how much money can I spend at this dinner party to make this thing happen. You have to budget that. All of that. 100%. You have to do all of it.
Yeah.
Production is you actually making everything, and the actual party itself. Post-production is everything you're doing afterwards, making sure that everyone had a good time, all of this stuff, right? So it's like every single day.
Sending out thank you notes.
Sending out thank you notes, whatever it is. So every day we are producers. And the job of a producer is the same as a host of a dinner party. It's making sure that you create something that people are going to remember for a very, very long time, and having passion behind that thing, right? Because every good dinner party, you remember, right? Like I think of a dinner party that it was really, really great, and I remember it, and I can think of it fondly. It's a good memory that lives in my head. It's the same idea when we're making a movie, right? It's like we want to make something that's going to last, that's going to stick with people, and that's going to be impactful, or so it's a weird example, but I think it works.
No, that's a great analogy, and you have not told me that before.
There you go.
Actually.
Cool. So there you go. That's the first time.
And what about you? Like, how did you end up in this industry? Like, I know your journey was very different than mine.
Yeah, I mean, I started when I was 13. I started acting when I was like 12, 13 years old. And I started acting in like my middle school musical. And I joined acting school. I had a great time. I learned a lot. And very quickly, I became very passionate about it. I'm from Long Island, not too far from the city. And my parents would let me take the train, Long Island Railroad, into Manhattan, and audition and take acting classes at 13 years old. Because they worked full time. They could not take me. But I really started feeling passionate about it, and I wanted to do more than just a community theater production or school production. And I was very lucky. I mean, I from a young age, from about when I was 13, 14, I started booking like commercial work. I did a lot of commercials in Spanish. I started doing voiceover work and like little projects here and there, some small regional theater. And I got to have like a little like 3-4 year window where I auditioned for maybe like, probably like 100 projects.
Wow.
And learning that when you're that young and by yourself, essentially. Like my parents are wonderful and they're amazing and so supportive, but you know, they don't have an entertainment background at all. You know, being originally from El Salvador, you know, they're very interested in entertainment, but that wasn't something that was accessible for them.
Yeah.
But they put us on, like me and my siblings, to entertainment at all times. Like we were watching theater when I was 5 years old and going to the movies and, you know, watching movies at home. My dad has a huge DVD collection. So like we've always been around the arts. So me acting just kind of like felt natural and like felt like I wanted to pursue it. And then when I turned 15, I wanted to direct. I was like, I got an opportunity to direct a production of Once Upon a Mattress at a local community theater. It was going to be just me directing like a bunch of my peers.
Yeah.
And I directed it, fell in love with it, and opened up CK when I was 15.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so December 16th, 2013, we opened up CK officially. I had to pitch it to my parents, and then we went out to a restaurant in Hauppauge, Long Island called Butterfield's, and I pitched it to an accountant and a lawyer, and they helped me out, and I got the concept. Like my parents helped me. That's what they gave me for Christmas that year. They gave me a corporate seal.
Wow.
And I had a business, and like from then on, that's been my primary source of income. I didn't go to college like in the traditional sense. I went to an acting school, but I don't have a bachelor's degree. No shade against anyone who does. I think college is extremely important, but you know, I got a chance to take a different path. And by the time I was college aged, we already had 2 films with CK Films. One of them that had done extremely well and had gone to a bunch of festivals.
Wow.
And we had already produced like 20, 30 shows, so like theatrical shows. So we just kept it going and we kept it moving. And yeah, it's been ever changing, ever evolving. We've done work on Long Island in like one theater. Then we opened up our own theater in another part of Long Island. We had an office in East Williamsburg, closed that. Now we have an office out here in lovely Long Island City,
Yes.
Queens, where we've been for the last almost 3 years. So it's just been such a crazy journey. And then like on top of that, like finding my love for directing and writing and other things too. I mean, I work right now, I'm working in like distribution and marketing for films as well, outside of CK.
Yeah.
So like I've been blessed to work on so many amazing projects, so it's great. It's been a wonderful time.
I love hearing about the different journeys that people take in filmmaking. And like you started so young, which
Yeah.
is so beautiful, right? And so like, I think marrying like your skills and my skills is such an interesting thing because you come from 10 years almost, right?
Yeah.
Of experience in this industry, even though you're younger than I am. And I'm newer at this side of the business, but then I have 10 years of business experience outside of this.
No, it's amazing.
So bringing together these perspectives, I think is beautiful. And I think it's also nice to know, like, you're never too young or too old to like pursue the thing that you love, right?
It.
Like when you find your passion, go for it. And it makes
couldn't agree
life like
more.
such an interesting journey. So I want to give you, as we're wrapping up, some rapid fire questions.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna give them to you back. I'm gonna throw them right back. So every week we're gonna try to do these rapid fire questions where we ask the creatives that we are having on our show some key questions that we think help inform their creativity. Episode 1.
Woo!
Let's do it. Go ahead. You're gonna give them to me.
I'm gonna give them to you.
And I'm gonna give them right back to you.
Question 1.
All right, go ahead.
What is the best filmmaking advice you've ever received?
This one's really hard. The best filmmaking advice I ever have received.
I don't even know what answer I'm going to give to this question, so good luck.
Honestly, the best filmmaking advice I ever received was just make it, right? Like just get out there and shoot the thing, make
That's
it,
fair.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it kind of feels like a cop-out, but like, I think it's so true is like, I'm one to like, I feel like at this point of our career and this point of CK's journey, I don't feel like I apply that all the time, but I still do to some degree, right?
Yeah.
Like before, I used to just make things, right? Like I have a film that's not out yet, but I just grabbed the camera and turned it on and started shooting, and I think that's cool. I think there's like cool, there's something cool about doing that, but there's also something cool about properly planning something,
Yes.
and but actually making
Which is what we do.
which is what we do, which is what we, especially at this stage in our
Yeah.
career, where it's like, you know, we're not making movies for $100 anymore, and we're making them for a lot more, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, the same thing still applies, right? Make it, maybe might not mean just make it on your iPhone anymore for us, but if it does mean that for you, then do it.
Then
But
do
if
it.
not,
Yeah.
you know, make it, meaning, hey, stop holding on to that script. Stop waiting until the perfect moment, right?
Yeah.
Start making a plan on how to make it, right? Like every film can be made. You just have to figure out the plan to get there. But,
100%.
yeah. What's the best filmmaking advice you've ever received?
Oh God. So I have some advice. It's not necessarily filmmaking advice, or wasn't specific to this industry, but I think it applies, and it was just to like work in your career and whatever you want to pursue in general. And it was, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
I love it. Yeah.
And so, you know, in what we do, right, we're taking something from conception to realization, and you have to have a structure and you have to have a plan. But at the end of the day, if you are too rigid in adhering to that structure, then it'll never happen, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so you'll be in the phase of like, you know, people starting a project, never finishing it, or editing it forever, or taking too long on set and they run out of money because they can't film anymore, right? And so I think, you know, it's important to have a structure, but so that you can then, if you need to, throw away the structure because you have a plan. And so I think that was great advice. And I think that's freeing, right? Like if you have to be perfect, that's a lot of stress. But if you know, like, you're gonna do good and you're gonna do the best, then like, that comes across. Question number 2.
Okay.
What are your top 3 favorite films?
I'm ready to answer this.
Are you?
I'm a big Letterboxd user.
I know
Follow
you watch
me
a
on
lot of
Letterboxd.
films, so
Oh my
like,
God, a
what
lot.
are your top 3?
I have AMC A-List. We watch 3
Shout out to
movies a
AMC
week.
A-List.
Yeah, sponsor us because I will talk about it every week
Yes.
if I can. I love AMC A-List. 3 movies a week. I see so many. And I'm a big Letterboxd user, so I'm very into tracking.
Shout out to Letterboxd.
Shout out to Letterboxd.
Sponsor
Also
us too.
sponsor us. No, I love tracking my movies, and like I love tracking what I've seen. It helps me figure out what my favorite movies are of all time.
Yes.
So number 1, for sure, without a doubt, is a movie called Blue Bayou, which I know you've seen.
Yes,
now.
and I love.
I am obsessed with that movie.
Ethan recommended it to me. It's amazing. Go see it.
Justin Chan directed it. It's just an amazing, amazing film. And not a lot of people have seen it, but I believe it's on Hulu or one of the streaming services.
Yeah, and it's great.
On demand, buy it,
Yeah.
rent it. Go support that movie because it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
And fully independent. It's great. The other movies I love, my second favorite would be Slumdog Millionaire.
Such a good
Love
movie.
that movie. Classic movie at this point. My third favorite movie is La La Land. I'm a big Damien Chazelle fan. He is my favorite writer-director. That changes for me, but he is definitely my favorite writer-director right now, and I think will be for a while. All of his movies, like Babylon's in my top 10. I'm obsessed with the movie Babylon. Whiplash is in my top 10. I love that movie. So everything he does, and Justin Hurwitz with his scores are just beautiful. My top 3. Long-winded
Nice.
way to say my top 3.
Nice.
What are yours? Go ahead.
So
Tell me.
this is not my number 1, but you know, along the lines of what you were just saying, Les Mis is one of my favorite, is my favorite Broadway play, but it's actually one of my favorite films.
The new, iterate 2012.
Yeah, so I, Broadway is my first love, musicals are my first love, that's what got me interested in this industry in the first place. But to that point, it was a film that was acting first and singing second.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful to
And
me.
a bold choice to do that in a big musical.
The broken kind of oh, I'm sobbing, so my singing is not perfect, right? I don't know, I love that film. My number 1 film, actually, and it's been this way ever since I saw it, and I just can't replace it, is Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington.
Classic.
Classic
movie.
I don't know, I'm a sucker for sports films, I don't know why, but it just marries so many things because it's hilarious. It talks about racial issues in a way that's really, I think, digestible to a wide wide group of people, wide range of people. And I think that's a lot of what we do, right, is touch on heavy subjects, sometimes in a more in-your-face way. But I think part of our goal is to be, to include more people into the conversation and to help people see a different perspective by making it a little more digestible. And so that is still my number 1 movie since I saw it, and I was in high school when I saw it. And I just recently showed it to my children and they loved it. And I was like, yes. I would say my number 3 is a tie between 2 very different things. And so I would say The Holdovers, which came out this year, which was like
love it. I know.
Phenomenal.
Life-changing
and
movie. It's beautiful.
Like life-changing and beautiful and like
life-changing, especially as a producer, I think.
Super
right?
inspiring.
Like it
Like,
showed me that you can make a movie where people can just talk and it can be amazing. I get
100%. And I think it also made me really excited as a filmmaker, just like all the different elements that came together, right? Like I'm like, they chose this time period. And I think the story fits so well into that time period and this location. And it's like, those are really, like, I'm like, how did they think of bringing these things together? And it really made such a difference to the film.
Beautiful.
And then my other tie is so different. And this is just because like my heart, besides being a musical theater heart, is like, I am a fantasy, sci-fi like person and a super nerd. And so it's like all the Harry Potter films
all tied into
are just like my favorite because like as a child reading those books, I literally dreamed, like had a dream, like went to sleep and had a dream that I was playing Hermione and like how the film played out before they ever made the first film. Like I saw the whole film in my mind and I was Hermione and I did not get cast as Hermione in real life, but like that was my dream. And so one day I will make and star in like a fantasy kind of film.
love it. Well, this was a beautiful conversation.
This was great.
I had so much
Thank
fun.
you.
And guys, every single week you will see either myself, Stefanie, or maybe a special guest host on one of these chairs. And we'll be interviewing some amazing, amazing people. So if you like this, please make sure you share this to all of your friends. Let people know that this is here. We are so excited to be highlighting independent film and cinema and have these conversations every week. It's going to be so special. I can't wait. You can follow me personally at Ethan Felizzari, Ethan Felizzari, on every single social media platform. Literally, I'm on every single one. Follow me on Letterboxd, so that one's the most important. And you can follow CK Films at CK Films NY.
And you can follow me at Stefanie C. Colón, StefaniecColon. That's me on Instagram.
Spell Stefanie's name right.
Spell it
matters.
right.
It matters.
It does matter because you won't find me otherwise. So please find me on Instagram. And again, shout out to CK Films. Please follow CK Films.
Thank you guys so much. We will see you soon. Bye.